The painting room. It began with a breath of dust and the faint scent of turpentine. Ilara had restored hundreds of paintings in her career. Renaissance saints, Baroque landscapes, forgotten portraits of the privileged and the damned. But none unsettled her quite like this one. The woman in the painting stared at her through the grime of centuries. Pale skin like moonlight, lips curved in a faint, secret smile, and eyes dark, bottomless eyes, that seemed to recognize her. It wasn't just resemblance. It was familiarity. The portrait had arrived from the private collection of a crumbling English manor. Its frame gilded and cracked, canvas yellowed with age. The note that accompanied it read only, "Artist unknown, found sealed behind the walls of the east wing. Handle with care." Ilara set up her tools in the dim backroom of the gallery, her sanctuary, her confessional. Each day she worked alone beneath the gentle hum of the lamps, her hands steady, her breath shallow. With each stroke of her swab, centuries of varnish dissolved, revealing the woman beneath. The name scrawled faintly on the back of the canvas, Isabel Darcy, 1852. The name stirred nothing, not yet. But the moment she uncovered the woman's eyes, a strange dizziness came over her, as if she had been holding her breath for years. That night, Ilara dreamed. She was standing in a candlelit ballroom, strings swelling, laughter spilling from painted lips. A man took her hand, tall, severe, beautiful, and whispered, "You'll ruin us both." When she awoke, her sheets smelled faintly of rose and linseed oil. The dreams continued, each night more vivid, more detailed. A manor with crimson drapes, a piano echoing down a long corridor, a voice, her own, but not hers, pleading, "He didn't mean to. Please, don't tell them." And each morning, as she returned to the painting, new details emerged. The shimmer of a ruby brooch, the faint outline of a hand at the woman's shoulder, one that hadn't been visible before. Ilara tried to tell herself it was coincidence, that she overlooked it in the original underlayers. But the hand, it hadn't been there. Now it was. By the third week, her colleagues had started to notice. "You look pale," one remarked. "Long hours," she replied. "Maybe step away for a while." She nodded, but she couldn't. The painting had become her fixation, her mirror. Each night she stayed later, watching the woman's expression change ever so slightly. The lips that once smiled now seemed mournful. One night, while polishing the lower corner, Ilara found something strange beneath the paint, a second signature, half buried under layers of age and deception. E.D., her own initials. The air grew colder. The next morning she woke to find her hands stained with crimson, not paint, dried blood. She ran to the studio, heart hammering. But the woman in the portrait was untouched, serene, immaculate. "Who are you?" Ilara whispered. In the reflection of the varnished frame, she saw the woman's mouth move just slightly. A flicker. "You know me?" Ilara stumbled back, breath catching in her throat. The light flickered. The room smelled thickly of smoke and salt water. She began to dig into archives, letters, forgotten census records. Isabel Darcy died at 29. Cause of death: suicide by drowning. But there were whispers of scandal, a forbidden affair, a missing portraitist, a fire that destroyed part of the Darcy estate. The artist's name had never been recorded. Elara's pulse quickened as she read the last line of a surviving journal entry, signed by Isabel's sister. The painter loved her too much. He burned the house to keep her from another man. That night, the painting began to weep. Thin trails of moisture glistened down Isabel's face, leaving faint, clean tracks through the varnish. Elara reached out, trembling, and for a heartbeat the tear felt warm. Days blurred. Sleep abandoned her. She could feel the echo of another's heartbeat inside her chest, steady and mournful. The world outside her studio faded. Only the painting remained. Only Isabel. One evening, exhausted and trembling, Elara leaned close and whispered, "Tell me what you want." The woman's eyes shimmered, and behind the varnish, her lips seemed to form words. "Finish what we began." Elara lifted her brush, her hand guided by something ancient, something buried in the marrow of her bones. She painted fast, desperate, alive, until the scent of oil filled the air. When she finally stepped back, the woman's likeness was flawless. But on the canvas, Isabel's features had changed, her expression softer, content, and Elara saw with horror that the reflection in the glass was no longer hers. When the curator found the room the next morning, it was empty. Only the painting remained, pristine, complete, and astonishingly lifelike. The plaque beneath it read, "Elara Darcy, 2025 Self-Portrait."